Do you really need a LinkedIn profile? Well, the answer is kind of. Hey, everyone, it's Emily, the Career Catalyst. This is a question I get a lot. Do you need a LinkedIn profile? What's it going to do for you? Do you really want to spend all of that time perfecting your profile and putting it up? And so the short answer to this, again, is that you kind of do need one, but maybe not for the reasons that you might think. So if you're in a field that doesn't really lend itself very well to the platform, the sciences, for instance, or the arts, it may feel kind of artificial to you. And what you'll notice about LinkedIn is that it's not particularly graphic looking. And so that may be a frustration if you are in a very creative profession. That said, there are kind of three main things that your LinkedIn profile will do for you that no other platform really will. So the first is it just gets your online presence sort of out there and public. And because of the way most search engines are optimized, if you have a LinkedIn profile, it's actually going to show up higher when people do a search for you. Now, this is particularly also important if you are someone who doesn't do social media, which I know is a temptation. And I know a lot of people are just not real crazy about kind of the pressure to be on social media, to be out there and all of that. LinkedIn, however, can be a really good place to show up in social media without it feeling terribly weird and creepy. So one of the challenges, if you're not on social media at all, is that employers are actually fairly likely to be looking for you there. If they can't find you, they're going to be a little bit concerned about that. Do you exist? What's going on? And unfortunately, one of the assumptions they may make if they can't find you anyplace is that you're sort of a technophobe. Now, if you are a technophobe, reach out. I have some tips for you. But for most of us, it's just really a case of not necessarily wanting to put everything out there. And so LinkedIn is often a really great answer for that, because you don't have to feel like you're under pressure to post pictures of your lunch or whatever. So do consider it for that. The other thing I really like LinkedIn for is that it's a very easy place to keep a record of everything that you've done. So your resume essentially can live on LinkedIn without there being any fear that you're going to, switch computers and lose access to it. You're going to have a hard drive crash, whatever it is. I don't know if you've experienced this before, but I've had to recreate my own resume a good handful of times because, I had it in places that aren't accessible to me any longer. So really nice is to be able to have that whole history right there. You can go back to it and no matter what happens, you will have access to it. And then if you're, making a very specific targeted resume for a particular job you're looking for, you can just kind of go through your profile and grab things, and it keeps track of dates and that sort of thing. The third compelling reason to have a LinkedIn profile is that it gives you access to other people in a way that other social media platforms simply don't. So if you are looking to connect with a person who graduated from your university and works at Google, it's a really easy way to kind of filter and look for people that way. You don't always necessarily want to connect with people that way because they're not always necessarily active on LinkedIn, but you can at least get some good information. So you can find that, Joan Smith did graduate from your college and does work in a really interesting sounding role at Google. And then if you wanted to figure out other ways to reach out to her, maybe seeing if there's a directory at the Google site there, the main Google site where you can look her up or that sort of thing. Sometimes you can also make an educated guess about a person's email address based on what you know about the company. Most email addresses are some variation of first name, last name at company. And so, you can play around. You can do first initial, last name. You can do first name dot last name. Play with it and see kind of what you can come up with. It's not a perfect answer for every situation, but it can at least get you some good basic information. And then, of course, if you can't get contact info for that person, you can always call the company up and just say, hey, I'm trying to get hold of this person. I'm wondering if you can, give me an email address, that sort of thing. Some places will do it, some places won't. But to me, those are really kind of your primary compelling reasons to have a LinkedIn profile. Now, in some fields, business in particular, it's a really great spot to do a lot of your very active networking. So you can actually build relationships with people just simply through the platform. If you're in a field where it looks like others who do the kind of work that you do are pretty active, then I do recommend being a little bit more active. You don't have to be posting a ton of original content, although you're certainly welcome to. It does look really wonderful on there if you do that. But you can also do things like share articles or ask questions or comment on other people's articles and questions and so forth. As you get more active on the platform, what you'll notice is that its algorithm gets a little bit smarter regarding you and is going to start suggesting connections for you that are actually a better fit. So if you are in one of those fields, or if it looks like people who do what you're hoping to do are really active on there, this is a really good time to start kind of playing around with it and getting comfortable with what you can do on LinkedIn, what kinds of tools it has to offer, et cetera. And I also want to be sure to mention, LinkedIn has this really fabulous tool called LinkedIn Learning. So if there's a particular thing that you are looking to get some training around, usually a piece of technology, it's a really great place to start, particularly because you have a free 1-month trial if you want to get started with it. So if you are trying to figure out how to get super proficient at, I don't know, Excel or something, really great place to start. And so, and what the other nice thing is what it's going to do is it's going to actually track it. So if you go through one of the LinkedIn Learning trainings and complete it, it's actually going to put a little sort of a badge thing up on your LinkedIn profiles that says you have that skill. Super helpful if you're looking for work that requires a particular skill or a piece of software. So do check that out. Again, it's a free month. And so, really, really fabulous tool. And there's really great stuff that you can learn on the platform. Now, if you're not in one of those kind of businessy fields that really kind of calls into calls LinkedIn into account a lot, don't worry too much about it. Don't spend a ton of time on there. But I do think, again, it's worth having a profile that you visit just every once in a while so you can make sure it's up to date. You can see if someone's reached out to you. You can see if there's anything really interesting going on in a field that's interesting to you or that's related to what you do. Let me know if you have questions. And again, if you do have some technophobia, reach out to me. I have some resources I'm happy to share. I will need an email address, but hopefully that's low tech enough that you're pretty comfortable with it. But have some fun and start digging into maybe creating a LinkedIn profile for yourself. Have a good weekend. I'll see you soon.